Spine Day. Thanks for joining me. We have two objectives in today's class. One is going to be relaxing all the muscles that are surrounding the spine. For a lot of us, we spend a lot of time bracing the spine and staying neutral. And these are crucial skills to learn when you begin weightlifting, but I think it's also important that you learn actually how to relax all the muscles around your spine as well. So the first half of the class will be spent relaxing the muscles around the back, and then the second half of the class, we're going to work on learning how to articulate the spine and move it in all of its different functions. All right, so let's come down to the mat. First stretch we're going to be looking at is going to be a Cobra type of stretch, and the goal here is mainly stretching out the front of the body. So you're probably going to feel this the most in your abs. Now to set up, we're going to come on down to the forearms. And what I want to do in this position is first and foremost keep my lower back soft and without any tension at all. So to do this, we'll start down in this kind of crouch position. From here, I'm going to come up to my forearms. We're going to put about 20% tension in our glutes in this position, so I'm not squeezing too hard so as I don't activate the lower back. From here, I'm going to start to drive my elbows back a little bit towards my hips. I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades together, and then I'm going to start to slightly lift my chest, keeping my belly on the floor. So at any point in time during this stretch, if you feel like your lower back's cramping up, just come on out of it, wiggle the back out a little bit, and then slowly make it up to this position. Once we start to feel this stretch in the abs, we're going to focus on our breath now. So we're going to do 10 big deep inhales. When I'm inhaling thinking about inhaling through the tight areas. So a big belly breath in. And as I exhale, exhaling through the mouth, thinking about melting away that tension. Now we're going to take about 10 big deep breaths here. And again, if you feel like the lower back's cramping up, sometimes you just wiggle side to side, it'll get rid of that. And if it really cramps up, or if you're just feeling it in your back, then just go through that whole reset. Come back down, let the back relax, and then move your way back up into this position. So big, relaxing, deep breaths here. Every time I exhale, I'm thinking about arching that upper back a little bit more. And you're really going to find in this position too, if you emphasize that exhale through the mouth, you're going to feel the whole body relax. So really focus on that big inhale through the nose and big relaxing exhale through the mouth. Let's do 2 more big breaths here. Cool, after you've taken that last breath, we'll come on down to the forearms, kind of roll out to the side, move the back around a little bit. We'll set up for the next position. Next one we're going to be working on is stretching out the mid and upper back. So if you have a job or if you have a lifestyle where you do lots of sitting, this one's probably going to feel really, really nice, just relaxing those muscles that get tense in the middle, upper back, and even in the neck. Set up on this one, we're sitting down. I'm going to go hands underneath, and I'm going to take a grip like this. This is a really strong grip that's hard to break. So I'm going to take this grip here. Now from this position, I'm going to start walking my feet in towards my butt. And then to load this stretch up, I'm going to lean back, thinking about bringing my lower back to the floor as I tuck my chin under. So in this position, we have the shoulder blades fully protracted, they're fully spread apart, and the upper back is rounded. And then just like our last stretch, we're going to take 10 big breaths here, breathing into the tight areas, exhaling through the mouth, and totally relaxing. Here we go. Every time you exhale, see if you can lean back a little bit more. Try to get a little bit more rounding in that upper back. You'll notice too, the more you tuck the chin in, the more that you're going to feel the stretch of the neck. So you can play around with the neck position here. And then if you want to emphasize one part of the upper back or shoulders more than the other, you can step that foot forward. So if you want to try that, step 1 foot forward. That's going to pull that same side shoulder forward. Take a deep breath. And you're going to feel the stretch. Emphasize to that side a little bit more. So take a few more breaths here, just playing around with foot positions, noticing how that changes the angle of the stretch. Take 2 more big breaths here. When you're ready to come out, sit back up, unclasp the hands. Again, just kind of move your back around a little bit. See how it feels after that stretch. Excellent. So we stretched at the upper back, we stretched at the abs. Now we're going to look at the rotators of the upper back. We did this one a couple weeks ago. It's going to be a sideline rotation. So I'm going to lie right on my back. Knees are going to come together, and I want to keep them in line as much as I can. So I want to try my best to avoid the knees splitting, one going down or one going up in this position. That's just going to keep you a lot more honest. And if you're already pretty flexible in this position, that's a way to make it a little bit tougher. So from here, I'm going to drop my knees down to one side. It's okay if the shoulder comes up on this side. I've got my knees lined up. I'm going to take this bottom hand. I'm going to pin down that top leg so that my legs don't separate. From here, I'm going to start rotating my shoulder to the floor on the opposite side. And then wherever you hit that sticky point, that's where you're going to take your breaths in. So I'm going to take a big inhale through the ribs here. Expanding the ribs, and then exhale, trying to melt that shoulder down to the floor. So think 3 to 4 second inhales, and then 6 to 8 second exhales through the mouth. If you've got that shoulder down to the floor flush already, you can open the arm up. You can even rotate the head, look at the hand, and then breathe and relax from here. The key is we don't want to force it too much in these positions. We're trying to relax these muscles as much as we can. So if you get into it and you're trying to really force your shoulder down, you're going to tense the muscles up. And that's the opposite of what we're trying to do here. So find a stretch that's somewhat comfortable that you can breathe and relax in to your best ability. Let's do 3 more big breaths here. Breathe and relax. Now to make our way to this one, we're going to rotate the shoulders back so we're getting ourselves squared up. From here, we'll bring the knees back up. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So we'll check the knees stacked on top of each other. Ankles are stacked on top of each other. I'm going to come down so I have about a 90-degree angle at my hip here. Knees are coming down. From there, we'll take the bottom hand again on top of the leg, so I'm blocking the leg from moving up. Now I'm going to start to rotate away from those legs. Once I hit that first stalling sticky point where I can't go any lower, take a big breath, try to inflate the ribs. Exhale, melt away that tension. Bring your shoulder down to the floor. If the shoulder's down, you're feeling relaxed in that position, you can open the arm up. You feel a nice little stretch on the pec as well there. And again, I find it really helps to visualize what areas are tight right now, what areas are restricting that rotation. Try to breathe into that area, try to blow it up like a balloon. And then when you exhale, let the balloon deflate and just melt a little bit deeper. Let's do 3 more breaths here. Once you're done 3, we're going to square our shoulders and our hips back up. Roll yourself back to the center. Maybe bring the knees in for a big deep breath. And then we'll make our way on to the next stretch. All right, from here, next one we're going to do is work on the side bend. So for this one, you can feel the stretch anywhere between like armpit, lat area, down into the hip, into the waist. It's going to be a little bit individual depending on where your areas of tightness are. So let's pop up to the knees here. Scoot back a little bit. So we're on our knees. Right hand is going to be our support hand. So if you're a little bit tight in the back doing a side bend, you can go hand down to the hip. If you have a little bit more mobility this way, you can go right hand down to your calf. We want to get a position that feels super stable because we're going to lean into that support arm. So I'm going to reach for the calf. From here, I'm going to swoop my left arm around my body, in front of my body, coming up overhead. And now we're going to be stretching out this line here. So once we're in this position, we're going to take 5 deep breaths. Breathe into the tight stuff. Exhale. Try to bend a little bit more, putting lots of weight into the support arm. If you don't have enough weight here, these muscles are going to take over and they're going to tense up. If you want to get a little bit more lat on this, you can straighten that arm out and try to reach for the opposite wall. 2 more big breaths. To come out of this one, we're going to let the arm come down. We're going to swoop down in front, and then we'll make our way back to the starting position. Wiggle everything out. If anything's tightened up on you, give it a little wiggle and try to relax it. We'll set up on the other side. Same thing, we've got our support arm down to the hip or down to the calf. We're going to swoop the front arm across the body overhead. I'm going to reach with this arm and then breathe into the tight areas. Every time we exhale, trying to relax a little bit deeper into that side bend. One more. After breath number 5, let that arm come down, come back down to the starting position. And then again, if anything's tightened up on you, wiggle out, move your back around, do whatever feels the best. Excellent. All right, we're going to move into our last stretch. So this one isn't technically a stretch for your back. We're going to be stretching out the glute piriformis region. But if this area is very tight, it can cause lower back pain. So we might as well hit that while we're stretching everything else out. So we'll sit down. Left foot is going to come into the body. So kind of have my instep, my pad of my foot against my leg. I'm going to take this other leg up and over. And it doesn't matter if this foot is on the floor at all. It's irrelevant. From here, I'm going to scoop my left arm. Kind of the crook of the elbow here is going to hug my knee. I'm going to clasp my hands together, either in this grip here, or like the grip we did earlier when we were doing the flexion stretch. So I've got my grip. I'm going to sit up as tall as I can. And then from here, big breath in. Should feel the stretch in this right hip glute area. And on your exhale, see if you can bring that knee in a little bit closer to the chest. We're going to take 10 big breaths here. Sometimes in this position, it's a little bit common to get a pinching in the front of the hip. If that's the case, and I actually just felt that now, what you can do is adjust where this leg is on your opposite leg. That'll change the hip angle, and you should be able to avoid that pinching. Let's go 3 more big breaths and then we'll switch it over. After the third one, let go of the leg. Straighten them out for a second, shake them out. Let's do the opposite side now. So right knee is going to bend, bring the pad of my foot to the inner thigh area. Take this leg, bring it up and over. Again, play with the leg, foot, position, angle here. Try to figure out the area of the position that feels the best for you. From here, right arm is going to scoop the right knee up. I'm going to take a nice secure grip here. Chest is up nice and tall. Should feel this in the left hip glute area. And then from here we'll take 10 big breaths, trying to get that knee a little bit closer on each exhale. If there's anybody out there that's a little bit more advanced and you're looking for a little bit deeper of a position, instead of hugging this knee, what you can do is bring this foot up, hug around the foot, around the knee, and then clasp the hands together so that you're in more of this kind of a pigeon style stretch. So if you're not feeling this one so much, if you feel like you've got pretty good flexibility there, you can amp that up a little bit by going around the foot and the knee. Let's go 2 more big breaths and then we'll come on out. And then we can let go of the foot or the leg, shake them out. And there we go. So that's 5 daily stretches that you can incorporate into your routine just to help relax your back muscles if you're feeling overly tense or overly tight. Got a little sip of water here. Next thing we're going to look at is developing the control of the spine. So being able to articulate and move different parts of our spine. Again, going back to kind of the gym exercise world, we get really good at keeping our spine neutral all the time, which, like I said, is a very important skill to have if you're doing deadlifts, if you're doing squats, push-ups. But we also need to be able to move our spine and have total control of it as well. So these 3 next drills are going to help us develop that quality. For the first one, let's come up to our feet. I'm going to go feet about shoulder width apart here. I want to try to keep my knees as straight as I can in this one. From here, depending on your flexibility, you can go hands on your thighs, on your knees, on your shins, on your ankles, etc. Wherever you start, you're going to try to go arms straight. From here, I'm going to totally round my whole back, all the way from my tailbone up to my neck. And then starting at the pelvis, I'm going to tilt it forward, so it's like I'm arching my lower back. I'm going to work my way up the spine, trying to extend each vertebrae until my back is in this extended position and my chin is up. Once we're there, we're going to reverse. So I'm going to take my tailbone, I'm going to tuck it under. I'm going to slowly work my way up my spine, rounding it again, finishing by tucking the chin. And this is going to be the pattern, going back and forth, starting at the pelvis, working your way up into extension, and then again, starting at the pelvis, tucking under, and then working your way up into flexion. So at your own pace here, we're going to go nice and slow, working about 10 reps. And you can sync your breath up on this one as well. What I like to do is as I'm rounding, I'll take a big inhale. And then as I extend, big exhale through the mouth. Let's go through this 3 more times each position. Cool, once you've done that, again, shake it out, wiggle it out. We'll come back down on the floor. We're going to do 2 more movements. So next one is going to be working on the ability to voluntarily rotate our upper back and up back. When we were doing that sideline rotation, we were using gravity to passively pull us into the stretch. Now we're going to actively pull ourselves into the movement. So we'll start on the knees. We're going to go hands up on the shoulders. From here, I'm going to squeeze my glutes at about 30%. And the reason why I'm doing this is I don't want my lower body to move at all. So I want my 2 hip bones to be perfectly squared up the entire time. From here, I'm going to rotate just the upper body. Once I hit that first sticking point, I'm taking a big breath in through the ribs again. Exhaling and try to rotate just a little bit deeper. From there, I'll rotate to the other side. Once I hit that sticking point, big breath in. Exhale, a little bit deeper. We'll just go back and forth here for 5, 6 reps on each side. If you want a little bit extra on this one, as you exhale, you can even open that arm up and reach to try to get a bit more rotation. Just be careful that the whole lower body doesn't rotate as well. Let's do 4 more reps here, 2 more to each side. Each time we go, we're trying to pull ourselves into a little bit more rotation. So see if you can notice what muscles are firing to pull you and what muscles are lengthening in that stretch. One more. Nice. Come on out of that. Shake it out. Last one we're going to be working on today are some pelvic rocks. So we worked a little bit on the pelvis when we were doing that standing back flexion and extension thing. Now we're going to solely focus on what the pelvis is doing. So for this one, we're sitting down, feet are on the floor. I'm trying to sit upright here to start. And then what I'm going to do is take my pelvis, try to tuck my tailbone under as much as I can. And then I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm going to try to roll my pelvis forward as much as I can. So the lower back will be rounding, and it'll be extending back and forth here. If you feel like you've got a pretty good feel and control of the lower back, then you can start to move the rest of the spine too. So as the tailbone tucks under, you can close the arms down around the whole back, and as you tilt the pelvis forward, you can open up the arms, push the chest forward, and try to extend the lower back. We'll do 5 more here. And again, we can sync up the breathing on this. Inhale as we tilt the pelvis under. Exhale as we roll forward. Two more. Cool, after that we'll come back, wiggle it all out. Last thing is let's come back up to our knees, and we'll just try to even further relax the back here with a little twist. Up on the knees, arms are just totally relaxed here, not tensing anything up. If you poke your belly, it should be soft. I'm not tensing up the abs. Glutes are soft too. From here, I'm going to initiate the twist at my hips, and I'm just going to let my arms swing side to side. The way that you'll know you're doing this one right is if your arms are slapping you. If you feel robotic, then you know you're holding a lot of tension. If you're loose and your arms are slapping, then you're nice and calm, relaxed. Go 10 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Good job, guys. So that concludes Spine Day. So just kind of in recapping, obviously we want to be able to tense and brace and keep our spine in neutral, but it's also very important, thinking about that yin and yang, that we're able to relax the spine and we're able to move it freely at the same time. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me. We're going to do this again next week, same place, same time.